Now, as you may know, Turnitin have announced that they're ending support for the plugin that UEL has been using in Moodle for many years. The website says that the system will stop working altogether in December 2027. But they also say that they're going to stop supporting it in December 2026. And having said this, we're already experiencing an increase in the number of errors, breakdowns and general confusion being experienced in the Moodle version of Turnitin. And while this might be sheer coincidence, it's possible that Turnitin are already scaling back support. Now, instead of the Moodle plugin, Turnitin want us to use a different kind of interface called LTI. It's also possible to use Turnitin through Moodle's native assignment activity. Both of these options bring with them significant changes to the way that we have been using Turnitin, and some of those changes are good, some bad, some just merely different. So in this video I'm going to show you what these options look like and highlight the differences. So this is what we've been used to. We add the Turnitin assignment, all the settings for the assignment are on the settings page, the same as any Moodle activity. And the assignment dashboard appears here, with the different assignment parts showing as tabs along the top, deadline information underneath, and a table with all the assignment information in the main window here. Alright, now let's look at the Turnitin LTI system they're switching to. Here's the new icon. It tells us that it is an LTI. LTI stands for Learning Tools Interoperability, which is fancy speak for it can connect learning apps, in this case Moodle and Turnitin. And we can see the difference straight away in the settings here. The options to enable anonymity are missing. There's no option to add due dates or different parts to the assignment. We still have the standard options, yes, they're under here. And then there's this scary looking bunch of settings here, which thankfully we can ignore. In fact, in many cases, the only thing we need to do on this page is just add the assignment title and then click Save and Display. And here's the new Turnitin window. There are some similarities here with the version we've been using. The students are listed in a similar window and the columns show the same information. However, there's no assignment dates showing along the top and no rubric manager. The download options are here but have been grouped into this drop-down menu, which I think is much easier to understand than those fiddly little icons we've been used to. To set up the assessment, we need to go to a different settings page, which can be accessed from this cogwheel icon in the corner. Here are some of those missing options: the start date, the due date, and oh joy of joys, look at this, the feedback release date. In the old version this was called a post date, which nobody really understood. This makes much more sense. You're right, but what about all those other options we were used to? Well, Turnitin have added another cogwheel icon here with optional settings. And finally, here we can see the late submissions, file type settings and the options for the rubric, which launches the rubric manager, and a few additional options, like the ability to upload an assignment template, which is nice. The option to add different parts to the assignment is still missing though. This functionality is gone completely. So if there are multiple parts to your assignment, you'll need to create a separate Turnitin assignment for each part. When a student accesses the assignment, they see a huge upload area, which is nice and simple. Frustratingly, the assignment dates and details are hidden under this collapsible menu. This could potentially increase student concerns about whether they're uploading into the right place. You might want to ensure that you add clear details in the assignment description area, handily hidden on the first settings page, and enable the option to show the description on the course page. This means that students will see the key information on the Moodle page itself. Here's a useful addition. Up in this corner you can use the drop-down menu to choose which student to submit on behalf of, leaving the anonymity settings intact. Very nice. Marking assignments works pretty much the same as before. You click on the assignment to open it and then you provide grades and feedback from the Turnitin window that opens. You might notice this small Analytics tab, which is new. This can give you some useful data on your assignments. Turnitin calls it robust assignment analytics. This can be helpful for identifying trends in your marking that might inform your teaching practice in the future. Are students on the whole getting lots of feedback about the same types of error? Are their rubric scores for a specific category lower or higher than others on average? But there's still nothing here really to help students make use of their feedback. Everything is still very much focused on assessment as an endpoint, which is a shame. So to sum up, you'll notice that a key difference in the overall design here is that Turnitin have worked hard to hide as much as possible in hidden menus or submenus. Now, this is clearly an attempt to reduce the amount of clutter on the page design, so that you don't have to navigate around a bunch of options that you're not using. Now, this makes it much cleaner and easier to use, especially for people new to the platform. However, it is a little frustrating that all the hidden menus are in different places, so for a while you might find yourself desperately looking all over the place for that cogwheel you thought was in the top right but is actually in the bottom left. Okay, so that's the new LTI version of Turnitin. But that's not the only way that we can use it. Moodle's default assignment activity has often been overlooked simply because everyone's been using Turnitin, but now we might actually get the chance to take advantage of it. For a start, setting up a Moodle assignment is similar to the way the old Turnitin worked. All the settings are on the same page in Moodle, including the deadlines and the option to allow students to submit up to 20 files, which is great for multi-part assignments and portfolios. But down at the bottom here, there is the option to add the Turnitin similarity check. Simply enable it and here are all the same Turnitin options we're used to, including the rubric manager. Now it's worth pointing out here some of the other additional features that Moodle Assignment offers that Turnitin doesn't. There are more options for providing feedback in different formats, especially for offline grading. A nice option for additional attempts, which allows for the use of iterative assessments or formative assessments. A built-in option for group submissions. Options for email notifications to be sent to students or markers. The option to hide or show the identity of the marker, and the option to add a marking workflow, which is a great way to manage the marking of an assignment with multiple markers and reviewers. Save and display. And this is the assignment page, all fairly familiar information in the columns. These columns will contain additional information if you're using group submissions or workflows. At the bottom of the page there are options to lock and unlock submissions, which is important if you're using iterative assessments so that you can lock assignments while you provide feedback and then unlock them for students to continue work on them. You can send messages to the owners of selected assignments as well, which is handy if you have a query about a particular submission, but anonymous marking means you don't know who submitted it. And you can filter the list of assignments according to the stage that it's at. The quick grading option is handy, especially for formative or iterative assessments, because it means you can quickly add feedback to the table rather than having to open all the assessments individually. When a student submits an assignment with Turnitin enabled, both the assignment and the Turnitin report appear. You can see the Turnitin ID and the similarity score. Clicking on the score will open the report in the usual Feedback Studio window. And while it is possible to use the grading and feedback options here, it's important to note that the grades in particular will not be sent back to Moodle. Moodle will expect you to be using the Moodle assignment grading, which involves clicking on the grade button here. This takes you to a grading window, where you can add summary comments, detailed comments and a grade. If you're using a rubric, this will appear on this page and you can click through the criteria just as you would in Feedback Studio. And there's a nice option at the bottom to notify the student when there's feedback for them to see. Now this feedback window is more basic than the Turnitin feedback window, In particular, it's missing the option for inline or on-page comments using this PDF editor. Now, there is a PDF editor that can be used in Moodle Assignment. It looks like this. Very similar functionality to the Turnitin editor. For some reason, though, we've never been able to get this to work at UEL, so this is as much as I can show you. So there it is. One way or another, the way we use Turnitin will need to change soon. And now you know what it might look like when it does. What do you think? Is there anything old that you're really going to miss, or is there anything new that you're really looking forward to? Let me know in the comments below.